This divorce is going to cost you $100,000. I looked at the person and said, are you kidding me? Really? What could possibly be so complicated to make a divorce cost that much money? So I got up. I said, thank you for your time to this very first divorce lawyer that I spoke to. Said, I'm not about to spend that kind of money. I guess I'm not getting divorced. And went back home. Fast forward a year. Things were really escalating at home. And the day came when I realized there was a huge safety issue. And I realized in this moment, I had to get out, and I had to get out now. And so I called up that $100,000 lawyer, let him know what had happened. And he said to me, don't worry about it. Leave it to me. I'll take care of everything. And that was my first mistake in my divorce journey. That lawyer went on to write a scathing letter to my ex-husband, who incidentally happens to be a lawyer. And so you can imagine his reaction getting that letter from this lawyer. You see, where my lawyer failed me was he failed to talk to me about strategy in divorce. He failed to talk to me about the different alternatives for going through a divorce, the much more affordable options. And perhaps the most fatal omission by him was to not talk to me about how to strategize when dealing with a narcissist in divorce, because that changes the entire landscape of what you're doing and what you're going through. And so while I was very naive at the time, thinking, hey, we could just meet up for an afternoon, have a conversation, settle our divorce, be friends, move forward, my ex-husband had other plans for me. So I knew he was going to make things difficult, but I had no idea how difficult he could make it. And so off we went into that nasty, nasty court battle in court. It was grueling, exhausting, extremely expensive. And I blew through that first $100,000 like that. And the bills kept mounting. I felt so lost, so hopeless, so helpless. I didn't have any family that had been through it before me. I didn't have any close friends that had been through it. I felt like there was nobody that could help me out of this brutal fight that just kept going and going and going. And so we did that dance for the next 10 months. And then the day came when the unthinkable happened. I found a lump in my breast. And I knew I had a problem. And I thought, are you kidding me, universe? Is this divorce not bad enough for me? Now you're going to put me through something even more horrible? And so off I went to get a biopsy done. And the surgeon turns to me at the end of the procedure and says, I don't need the results. I know what you have. You have breast cancer. You have breast cancer. I was the tender age of 37. My babies were 5 and 8. And you can imagine what was going through my mind in that moment. The grief, the sadness, the fear, the anxiety, all of it. And worse yet, all I could think was, I am so drained by this divorce process. I have nothing left in me to fight. How am I going to do this? So I let myself wallow in my self-pity for the next day or two. And then I mustered all the strength that I could have, put one foot in front of the other, and I endured. I endured surgery. I endured chemotherapy. I endured radiation. I endured all the gross stuff that comes along with this kind of diagnosis and the treatment. And I continue to endure today because, unfortunately, cancer is the gift that keeps on giving. And so, obviously, that experience reminded me of what's truly important in life. Unfortunately, it didn't remind my ex-husband about what is important. And so while he was kind enough to allow me a reprieve for that 1 year of treatment, when I went back to work, he served me with papers to haul my butt back in court to sue me yet again. And all I could think in this moment is, are you kidding me? How could this person that I've spent 20 years of my life with, this person whose children I bore, how could he hate me so much that he wants to put me through yet another battle? All I want to do in this moment is be alive. All I want to do is love my babies, build beautiful memories with them, be there for them. And this person just wants to continue this nasty attack. And so we went into this awful court battle. And that went on for a number of years and a heck of a lot more than that $100,000. Until one day, a friend of mine said something to me that would change my journey forever. And he said to me, you know, you keep complaining about how expensive this divorce battle is, that you're spending all this money on legal bills, that you're doing all the work, you're writing all of the documents for the lawyers, that you're speaking up in court because you don't like what the lawyers are saying. Why don't you just do it yourself? Do it myself? What do I know about family law? How could I possibly do it myself? He says, but you're telling me you're doing it yourself. You're writing everything, you're speaking, just do it. Do it yourself. So I thought about it for a minute, and then with fear in my voice, I said, okay, what do I have to lose at this point? Okay, I'm going to do it myself. So I fired my lawyers, and I went self-represented. And would you believe, that's when I started winning everything against my ex-husband. To the point that I started winning my costs, which is very uncommon for a self-represented person. I'll never forget one of my most successful court appearances. It was yet another motion that he was bringing against me that I thought was completely frivolous. So I prepared my ridiculous amount of paper to support my case. Went in there, spoke to the judge, told him my side of things. My ex-husband said his side of things. And the judge was completely impressed with what I had to say and completely unimpressed with my ex-husband lawyer and what he had to say, to the point that that judge started reaming out my ex-husband in this courtroom, which was very entertaining, I have to tell you. But even more entertaining was, in a courtroom setting, anyone could just show up and watch and listen. And I was gaining this whole peanut gallery behind me who was cheering me on. So as I walked out of that courtroom with my amazing win and winning my costs, they were high-fiving me on the way out of the courtroom, which was so neat. But let's be real. As awesome as that day was, and as validating and empowering as that was, who here wants to be in court? No one. No one wants to be in court. We eventually, years later, we found mediation. Divorce mediation, I had never heard of it. Oh yeah, that $100,000 lawyer never told me that this was an option. And would you believe, in an afternoon of mediation, we had our parenting plan. The same parenting plan we had fought for years in court, thousands of dollars later. The same parenting plan that I had asked for before ever hiring a lawyer. The same parenting plan we use today. And so in that moment, I had a light bulb moment. I figured out what I was meant to be doing. You see, at that moment, I was a chartered accountant. I worked in the world of finance, never really had a passion for it, but was good at it and did it because I was told to do it by my parents, so I did. Now I had a purpose. Now I knew what I was meant to do. So I went back to school and I obtained my accreditation as a family mediator. And what that's allowed me to do is help other people, help do my part to fix this broken family law system. Now I get to help other people not go through the messiness that I went through, not empty their pockets on legal bills that are unnecessary, keep their sanity, keep everything intact, and actually be amicable with each other. Imagine that in a divorce. But even more, what it did for me was it offered me healing. Because now I'm surrounded by people that are also going through turmoil, who I never knew when I was going through it, so I know now I'm not alone. Even better, it helped me find purpose and meaning in all of my suffering. And now I'm able to help other people, help them, help bring light to a moment of darkness for them. And that gives me such pleasure. And it is a reminder to me about that old saying, life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning to dance in the rain. Thank you.